learn about it a little bit.
Okay. Do I share the screen now?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Okay. Okay. Right. So where are we? Not here. Here. Can you see?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've started to create this public first name, last name, email, and password, and then the methods set and get for first name, last name, la la la, and then I have 4 people registered. Yeah. And then I just tried with Lucy and it didn't go. So I mean, like, so I said the first name, last name, email, and password for all 4, and then I wanted to print it. So Lucy get first name, it prints, but not the last name and the rest of it, and I don't understand why. So obviously I didn't do it for the rest of the
last name did not print, right?
No, last name, email, and password. You see, they are all.
Just print the one for now.
Yes. So it only prints first name. You see, all of them.
I see.
Yeah.
First name, last name. Can I have you see get last name function on the top?
Here. Sorry.
On the class.
Here.
Last name. This last name, and so you set the last name. Last name. Then you set this last name. So you have this last name already. And how did you set it up on the Lucy in the bottom?
I mean, I was thinking, like, if the first name is working, all of them should, yes, because
Of course.
So yeah.
Last name. So Lucy first name. Lucy last name. Why don't we switch off all other? Keep the all object Lucy, Sam, Joe, Donna. Keep them all for new. But let's try only with one Lucy.
Okay, so just switch off this one.
Switch off this one. Yeah, switch off this one. We want to see what is going on. So we investigate one area. It will be helpful for us. Also do the same thing for there. Get rid of the last bit. Yeah, I think that's it. Okay, so we have first name, last name, email, password, all set up for Lucy.
Yeah, so and it only prints the first one, but it's the same syntax, so I just don't know where is the error.
It could be the browser running, failed to compile.
Again.
Can you run? Click on run button. Okay, what we were going to do, Kasha, copy this piece of code, create a PHP file called register.php. You do not need the HTML bit. Get rid of the HTML bit.
Okay, just here.
Create a pure class, simple class, and just any project.
Okay.
So let's take this. Let's go to your local host. Just create a new. Do you want to use this, or do you want to use a separate program like?
I just create new file because otherwise I would need to create the whole thing.
Okay.
No,
just say register. Register. PHP and then paste it here. Do you have a register? No, you don't have register PHP. That's the only file I believe.
Okay.
The other one is called sign up, and just paste it here. So now you point to the browser and open register.php. See what happens. We're gonna try in our local browser.
Okay, so PC Globe, yeah. It's this one. So how do I do it? Here, register, yes?
Yeah, just write a last one, register.php, that's it.
Register.php. Like that?
Yeah. You do not need this double bracket. It's just a file, I believe. And
like that?
After version 10,
How does the slash, yeah?
Yeah, maybe a slash. Let's try that.
Where did I go? Oh no, I closed it.
No,
Sorry.
it's open. No, don't be sorry. It's okay.
Okay, local code. Where is now the PC Globe version? Let's see. It was the capital. I never remember this.
Best thing to do always a bookmark. I always bookmark it.
I think because okay.
So here, after that line, just write register.php. Yeah. So that gives us Lucy. Make it bigger.
Try.
Okay, I can see it. Yeah, that's fine. So now what? Let's check the code. Make it a little bigger. So you have a public, you have register class, get first name, set first name, public email, last name. Make sure that the names are okay.
Yeah, the first name, last name, because that was hold on.
Password. Set password.
Oh, I know. Maybe it's this one. You see the line 17. This last name. It shouldn't be the last name.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, they all going with the name.
Are they?
Yeah. The bottom one as well. I think.
So that's what I'm saying. Maybe I didn't change this here.
Yeah, that's it.
Right.
That's it. Yeah, you got it. Same goes for email as well.
Yes. Okay. So it's not solved. Yeah. Okay.
Now this is that's why we transfer it to a file system. It's because it's colorful, and you can easily spot them quickly for debugging purpose.
Yes. I was just looking at that so many times.
Make sure
it's just
yeah.
Yeah.
And then the W3 school, sometimes when you do that, it's quite difficult. Sometimes when it goes bigger, it's difficult to handle it.
Oh yeah, thank you. Yeah, now it works. Yeah.
No problem. Brilliant.
Okay, thank you very much.
No problem. Brilliant.
Okay. Stop sharing. Okay.
So as you saw that this is quite simple to do in order to, if you want to create a class that does the job for you. I have a little bit of, for example, anyone else tried it or didn't have much time maybe? How about you, Malsto?
I tried.
Did it work?
Yeah, I was practicing in a different way. It was working.
It's working.
I didn't have an opportunity to do this one, but I did practice on it.
Okay, very good. Yeah, that's good. That's good. Brilliant. That's fine. I was looking at, this is great. So, if you haven't tried it, just go ahead and try it. If you haven't, I probably, Julius, this is amazing, mate. It could work. I mean, this is good. This is very good.
Oh wow!
Too precise. That's really nice.
Julius, when did you get the template for it, or just example how to follow it? Wow.
I used this. This is kind of specification of WordPress actually.
But what did you type in the search? Like WordPress admin specification, or?
No. I used WordPress and I knew how WordPress.
Oh, okay.
I worked with WordPress.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, that helps because that gives you a lot.
It's very professional.
This is really good. This is good. Documenting is another key skill that you need. And let me just quickly grab a copy of that and keep it as a sample of simple, precise, to the point. We'll see how much we can achieve, Julius.
Yes.
Based on the, No, not this one. I think I have a one from Paula as well. Paula, you sent me another one, didn't you? Was it Paula? Send me that one? Yeah. I'm gonna quickly download this before I forget. Quickly download them quickly. This is another one. Paula also has meticulously planned everything. She also did wonderful. I mean, just focus on only the basic one. You all have beautiful creativity on your own way. So even though you see them there, but the most important part is how you articulate them. I mean, how do you actually get into the point when it's not too much, not too less, but then you can keep hitting them. Once you finish that, you just highlight this, like this. I have done this, cross-check it, done it, or tick mark it, stuff like this. So this is what we want to start early as possible.
Okay.
Okay, so this is done. Let's open quickly. So I have a little there. What I wanted to do, of course, I have this template I always use. I call it class. So I'm just gonna grab one of the class that given by this guy here. Just gonna grab this. So because I'm lazy. So just gonna grab this. If I want to create a file quickly, I'm going to just use this. I'm going to use this, and I'm going to go, and of course I have a processor. I probably will not use this processor for any reason, so I can use it that, because at the moment I'm not doing anything for that one. I'm just going to, I'm just going to grab it just to see if we can create the similar situation here. And I do not need this. I'm just going to get rid of this. Okay. So of course I will I'm gonna just call it register dot class. So you don't have to write the dot class, but I usually write dot class. I mean, not that I will be writing it. You might see some of them downloaded. You'll have a class like this. So basically I'm just gonna call it register. So register, those who hadn't done it, have a look how you would do this basically. So we have, of course, we have name, first name, last name, and first name. You could use this technique if you want to develop, but PHP, you can see the function names are written like this. They don't necessarily go with camel casing.
Yeah, I was just wondering what is normally used.
Yeah, that's why this is one of the things I want to talk about. There are a few other things rather than only learning object-oriented, how to adhere the philosophy of their own development. So I would go with this.
Okay.
PHP tend to go with this with underscore, or even if it is object-oriented. As you can see, WP schools also set their functions at that name. And then obviously you could do that in last name as well. Last name, maybe for that one. And then you have email. You have email and a password. So I have email, and then I have password. Okay. Password. I have this for variable set name get. I knew there is a Kasha. This is quite nightmare when you have a lot of variable like this. You probably all know to create a pair of set get. Right? You have to type and copy. There is extension. Probably if I find it, I'll give it to you. It's basically when you create them, and it can create automatically with the shortcut all the set and get for you.
Exactly. Yeah.
And it's because these are repeated basically. doesn't
Yeah, you
do
just
much.
copy
It will
paste.
give you
Copy paste.
basic.
Yeah,
Copy
yeah.
paste. I'll have to check what did I do on that one. So it's giving me an error. Live checking it, it's saying no, you don't have anything. So I'm just gonna change it so it's not gonna complain anyway. So I have setter getter setter methods for the register, and these method set name, set first name, maybe first name, maybe get first name, get first name will return me the first name. Of course, this was a mistake, is it not?
Yeah, it was.
First name.
I basically changed it in the first one and forgot about the rest of them. Yeah.
Yeah. First name, and of course, I'm going to also call it first name. First name, and I'm going to use that as one. First name has been done, so that is set first name, set get name. So I need to change it to
you dropped?
sorry guys, can you hold a few seconds? Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Just hold a few seconds for me, please.
Okay.
Yes. Hello, sorry about that. It was the family call. Can you hear me? Hello?
Yes.
Sorry about that. It was a family matter.
It's all right.
So I had to attend it. So that's the first name. That's the get the first name. So we do that. I hope you just keep an eye on for me, okay? Because anybody do mistakes on object oriented is very common. So you keep an eye as my second eye, okay, if I'm doing wrong. So that is gone last time, and I'm going to copy this and repeat this process. Let me see if I can find this the extension, PHP extensions are really helpful. That would
I was
help
just
you.
thinking there should be some function to do it,
Yeah.
no?
No, there is
Set it up and you do it.
there is one. I'll find that. I'll find out and give it to you guys. It saves a lot of time. All you have to do, declare them. It will then automatically create that for you. Every programming language has it. Set last name. Okay, that's last name, and this is last name, and this is last name, last name. Okay, so person. What happened with this guy? Oh, I have two of them. That's why maybe set first name gone, set last name, get last name. That's why last name. Now on the get, I'll have to change them to last name. Last name. The set last name, and the get. Okay, so I have first name, last name. Same goes for I think email and let's look at this. First name. Just to quickly give this. Then I will have this for last name. Last name. I'll have pair of them for the email. 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 So that's been set and get email. So that's gone. That's gone, and then only thing left for me is the password. Password, set password.
Oh, is there a function the same like with search that you can, you know,
Which
do
one?
the word instead in Visual Code?
Oh yeah, no, we can. You mean in the select change everything together?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
I was just thinking now of this.
Yeah, you can. But I found this one will be a bit tricky to do because they have.
Oh, some of them have the dollar sign,
Yeah,
some of them
dollar
don't.
sign.
Really?
Yeah, they're gonna change everything.
Yeah.
So I think we are done for now. I think last name, first name, I hope password. So yeah, this is pretty much it is. Now I'm just gonna quickly create a person called Lucy. Okay, for example, or Sam. Let's do a Sam because you've done the Lucy. Now this is done. Sam now need first name or user one. You could say if you really say rather than saying. I'm just gonna call it user, maybe user one, just for so I know it's user one. Then of course I will have this set name, set first name, which is Sam, and then I'll do the set for rest of them.
Is it not possible to do it by dot, no? Like concatenation.
No, you have to call it like this. This is the object calling philosophy. I hope I haven't done mistakes. Last name. Because when you come from procedural, after a while, it takes a little while to get your head around with this email. Email. So you're gonna do this Sam at gmail.com. Then I have password. Then obviously Sam 1, 2, 3. Maybe for now. The weirdest password in the world is this one. So these, if this is set, I should get them all by get first and last name. Okay. So I'm just gonna do echo user 1, and then then I will have get name, right? Get first name. That first name function will give me this, and I could say first name. I could do all together. It should work just like this. Name. I could do like this. Why not? And then obviously I can check if I can print all of them. And then of course I'm going to put a little break after that. Little break. So it has a little break. Okay. Last name. This is email.
So a lot of writing, no?
Yeah. To automate this process, as I said, there are a lot of nice extensions that you can use to automate this process much easier.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
Especially if you've got like 2,000 users or something like that.
Exactly. So I have register. What do I call it? Register dot class dot php. Hopefully I did it right. Undefined property register get first name online. First name. So user 1. What did I do wrong? What is saying? Let me see what it's saying. On line 57, I have undefined property get first name on line 57. Let's do line 57, 58, 57. This is why it's struggling. Get first name. Do I not have one?
Maybe get rid of the label and see if it
yeah, maybe just let me just quickly write it down. And of class. I don't know what is going on. Let's see. Just a quick try. 01 variable just to see if it is down anything from me. Set name seems to work. To get the first name. Okay. So you're saying let's do this, okay?
Yeah, just to see if it works.
Just to see if it is function works. Maybe that's the one. Let's try this a little bit. So this give me that is the reason. So that's the Verdum anyway. But then that's the name. Okay, that's fine. So basically it did struggle to write anything with it, like any concatenation system.
But I think Mazadou did it because he was.
Yeah, no, it shouldn't. It shouldn't. let me see again.
We can make it a bit shorter with that, cut it down the code a little bit.
This should not stop.
Yeah, exactly. Why?
Let me just double check with one first. Maybe I'm doing something silly mistake. Let's try this. Let's first name. This will be the last name. Anyway, I keep forgetting first name. This will be email. Email. This would be password. Oh, sorry.
You need to use dot for concatenation.
I would like to avoid it as possible. I think you need to, you're right. We need to do this, otherwise it's gonna cause problem.
Yeah.
No, or we can't do that without concatenation on this one.
Mm-hmm.
As we need to do this. Unfortunately, we have to do this. Then it's going to bring up. Of course, I need to just bring it up.
You just can't ignore this dot.
We can dot.
Oh, right. Very complicated.
It's not going to give us anything. If I don't break it with the concatenation, I thought it's gonna give me in a double quotation. I forgot. See, myself forgot that the object orientation doesn't take string like that.
Does it take a backtick or no?
Backtick not gonna work. Backtick is only with JavaScript. We can try actually. I've never tried backtick on. Let me see. I never tried backtick on
PHP.
PHP.
Because
It looks like it will work.
no.
No.
Backtick is
The backtick
JavaScript.
with curly braces and those things. No?
Yeah. This may be, this is a JavaScript to be honest. That's why it's not gonna work. This evaluation not gonna work. There is another one I know, but I don't remember exactly right now. If you want to do this, so this for now, this is I think okay. For now, you get first name, of course last name and other things goes like this as well. So just a little bit of echo with that. So this is echo. Last name goes last name, email goes email, password goes password. And if I do refresh it, hey,
Because
no, I
didn't
didn't do the concatenation, did I? Concatenation. Concatenation is a pain. But you have to do, there is no way. It's a little bit, it won't take that long. Because what we want to do after this, of course, we want to try a bit different thing after this. That's why even if it's harder, I'm writing it down. It's longer. I will not say harder, it's a longer process. Class, then I will have this dot, and then I will have this dot. Okay, so that's been done. I hope it works now.
Oh, it should. Yeah.
Yeah, it did work, of course. It did work. I'm gonna share this with you guys. Go ahead and try this. Thank you for those who are helping me also. Just the way I did. Okay, now of course, this system works perfectly. Let me just do. One of the things we want to do on top of this, we want to separate the class from the GUI. So whatever you see here, I'm going to keep it here for a while to check it. This is called outside world. This is not within the class, so it will be considered as the outside world. Where I was, class. Let me just give you the registered class in the chat in case you're going to try it. But it's usually when you use a class, you, of course, do not write anything. The pristinity of the class should be maintained as a separate script. You must include it on your GUI. So I would do it slightly separately. Mazul did it. Excellent. Brilliant job. Brilliant job. Well done, Mazul. This is great. So what I want to do, I want to just create a quick file system because I want to try, that's the power of this. Because a bunch of classes could be kept in a library folder and you can just manipulate them. Of course, this time our register class is really simple and it's not much of to do with this. So I'm just going to create another called register.php, register.class.php, then register.php. The reason that I gave register.class, so technically file name wise, all my classes will be written .class. It's not a problem. But then obviously this will be register. Who used register? So this case, if I want to use the PHP, and if I want, I must require it. Okay, not include once. You say require once. Use require once when you using a class. Okay, always use require once to include that register dot class.
Why is this two-level block system? Why
the system is to keep the class? This is a rule of thumb that keep the class separate. Don't render any. Try not to render any HTML format.
Okay.
Except the message passing. That's fine. You can send a message, return a message, validate it. You can use it for, and also not to mix it with any other GUI code. Graphical user interface. Those who then you see that this is GUI, the outside world that we are seeing. This is the graphical user, and the idea of the rule of thumb is you keep the class pristine and ship everything with the external or GUI to the outside.
Okay, so class is just this piece of code, and the rest like look of
it, like just using it
somewhere else. Okay.
Yeah. So because many people may use that class in your program. And many other functions may use that class, and if you mix it up with some GUI, it's going to render whoever is using it, perhaps. So it's better not to. A class is like works like a template, it's its own properties, its own thing. But as long as you connect them, they should work. But make sure that you do require ones. Now, because I will be needing the class, it's not include. It should be require or require once. You could go on also require, but require doesn't check if you accidentally load the class twice. Doesn't make sense. There are two functions. When it comes to include a class, do not use include or include once. Must use require and require once, because without the class, none of this code should work. This all depends on the class. So with the required and require once, if you just do require, if you accidentally somewhere in the code down below, let's say you have loaded it again, it's not going to do the check for you the way that it's already been loaded. It's just same to include once. Similar. When it comes to class and library files, you use require, do not use include. Because if you miss it, it's going to give you an error, immediate warning. So let's say if I do mistake, and try to, because that's not the name of my class. So I'm just going to go and change it to register.php. Register.php, and as you can see, can you see this? Let me know. Can you see what on the screen? Can you guess what it's causing?
Register one.
That's in the register.php. I have mistakenly written wrong name on my class. So if you ever see this, you will see quite a fatal and warning together. The fatal the warning is just to saying that it failed to open the class. So this, you see this, you make sure you check the path, check the everything, check the file name. To make it clear, this is a class. I have used capitalized. I also use a technical class. It's not necessary, but it's fine. But it has a fatal error, which because of the require function, there is something, a library called peer library, which keeps when you run a web server in the XAMPP, this keeps a track record of the files that you're loading into the current project. And this guy is Fraggle. This is a piece of tool, a piece of software in your PHP folder as a file. Think of it like an exe file, whose job is to make sure that it tracks, it keep a track record of all the current instances or files or partial that you requiring. You set an instruction to require. Now, will this fatal come if I don't use require? Let's have a look. I use include rather. Okay. I've still did not change my class name. It's a mistake. Mr. One blah maybe to make sense maybe. So now, of course, I'm just going to refresh it. You can see the uncaught error, class register not found.
Because
that was
you
online.
didn't change the file, no?
Yeah, no, I have kept the file name register one blah. So that's not a file name, of course.
Did you?
may wonder,
Oh, okay.
yeah, register one blah. I just changed it. I just installed require. I use include, and as you can see, this is giving me a little bit of fatal error. So it's unable to compile it. It's unable to follow the instructions that I wanted to do on line 5, which is creating objects and whatnot. So of course, this is going to be a problem. I'm going to change it to require. I can, and I would go. Can I do 2 requires? Let's fix it.
But what I meant, your file on the left, it's still called register class, not register blah. So
yeah, this is on purpose. I did it on purpose. Okay. So if you have mistaken written different name, for example, and you don't have the class, the require function will produce a fatal error.
Oh, okay.
A warning.
Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is how you know, and it will see something called PR. Okay, if you search a little bit of PR, PHP, PHP PR, okay. What is this? Pair is a framework and distribution system for reusable PHP component. Sound good? It's funny. This guy is funny. So basically, this is a piece of tool installed on your PHP folder, which keep track record how many components, these pages and these external libraries or even partial header footer, they are seen as a components of a join. This software can keep it track all the files that you're loading for a current instance. It was developed as an extension. Comes with it, and you can check why is a note that previously pair is short for PHP extension and application of repository. The purpose of PHP is to provide the following: a structured library of open source code for PHP, a system for code distribution, package maintenance, a standard style for code written in PHP. So let me tell you this. Have you ever heard something called NPM, Node Package Manager?
No, not me.
If you have you used something called Composer? Of course you know, because this is another package manager. PHP comes with something like Peer. Peer is a built-in feature. That's why without even Composer you can use. Now, package manager is something when you download different types of supporting files. Let's say scripts. Let's say somebody else did a solution for a loan calculator class, and you want to use it, or it made it like a package. Package is just like a file, basically. And to manage them, so you want to download it. Of course, you download it, you kept it in a folder, and then you use this as a library. So that's the normal way we do. You can just link it. However, there is a management system called Composer or PR, which can be used. So not only for that project can be used not only for that particular project, but any other project that you are using on the HTTP folder. So it's called global accessible. And this package manager has 2 things. there's a piece of tools actually, or peer. Lucky that we have peer already built in. But there is a package manager also called Composer. You will hear them often, who helps PHP to manage open source different libraries or code. Simple as that. Let's say somebody build a file upload class, somebody build a payment class, somebody build it, and I want to include them in my project. You can manually download them, put them like this, the way I did, and link them manually. This is one thing you can do. Or you can use a package manager such as Composer. So package manager definitely has some good thing. It makes things automated, make things better for you. In terms of the package manager, if you do install them using package manager, it creates a JSON file here which keep track record of the different version changes of those softwares. So let's say tomorrow, the guy who developed this payment system, he had released another version of the same class, but much more modern. You'll have to manually, don't have to manually check them. You can just run a command from scripts with package manager. The package manager will go through that the JSON file it get created and check all the dependency file and their software live from the server. If necessary, it will update it for you. So package manager does this tracking for you. You don't have to manually download server version changes. Now it's for basic project, these are very helpful. We call package managers. Peer almost work like that, but it's not as good as, of course, like Composer, something called Composer, or NPM for Node, for example. This package manager does two things. If you install through a package manager, that's a piece of software, basically. Keep an eye on a file. It will create a JSON file here, which will list all the external packages that you use. And whenever you need them to update them, you just run one single command and it will go and fetch the updated version of that packages and update your project. That's one thing it does. You can also make, when you install different extension or plugins or open source tools, the libraries or classes, you can make it public when installed. So that will be available to in your system path. They'll be available to other projects. So you don't have to always do like this. You can just, you don't have to locate where it's actually physically located. You don't have to. You just tell Composer to load that package. Composer has a list of files and their physical location. It will load it for you. So if I started tomorrow a new project and I do not know where, I forgot where I actually kept this registered class, but I want it. So I went to my server, and here you can see I have kept register class in the OOP class folder. But tomorrow I want to create a new project and I want to use this registered class. I need to grab a copy of it, or I need to point to this folder. So if I have another project here I've created, I want to use that classes, then I have to copy that class into new project folder, just like you do for any file. But if I had managed that with Composer system, which I have to install, then I don't have to use it, copy and find every single library that I ever use. I just have to put that into a list of Composer's checklist, and I can just load it to any project. Makes massive application development much easier through the Composer, but not this scale. The scale we are in, we do not need Composer. Peer is good enough for us. So that is a package manager kind of thing. We just keep track record of this kind of file system. So in here, I'm going to use require once in order to load this, and then I should be able to see. That. So remember the package manager or Composer, something that probably I will introduce you later on. Especially for framework, you need a Composer, like CodeIgnite, PHP, some CMSs. They use their Composer. So this is basically my class. So it works. So I'm gonna give it to you. Now I have a little task for you. Just to, this is good. Let's take a little break and come back. Can you make sure that I have a validation empty check? Now this, you see the set and set methods are not only there to just to set the value, just like this, you can use them also for any source of entry validation.
Okay.
Like if it is empty, you can return a message. Sorry, so you can use them to validate as well. They're very helpful to validate individual field. You could write password length check, you could do everything just the way you did for thing. So not only you can, before you assign them, set them, you could do a check. You could do a check and then pack information into variable, error variable, and then send it over to it. You can do that as well. So you can have a bunch of error functions there. Yes, Mazul?
Is that going to be if else statement here? Is it going to like if else statement? Or
Yeah, of course. So I'm just if you would like to do that, for example, I want to check before I set the values. That's why these functions are very useful. They can be used now also for the validation and sanitization and whatnot. And this is how it should be. That's because I tell you why. You see, these are public variables. Okay, these are called properties. This is a bad practice to call them public, because these are the value that my business runs on. These are the secret of my business. It could be VAT, it could be my loan calculation, it could be the rate of interest, it could be the secret API key that you're storing in here. So it shouldn't be exposed to outside world. And they only should be exposed to this. Now to perfect it, I will make it slight changes. Okay, let's have a look. You see, for each of this property we wrote public. For functions we did not write public. Did you notice that?
No.
You see, I did not write a public.
Yeah.
If you do not write a public word, by default they become public. Okay, but it is a good practice to write public before it for all of them. If you don't write it, by default they are public anyway. But I should convert them to public. The object-oriented concept suggests you keep the data private, you keep the method public. Okay? Use the method to manipulate the data. What is meant by this? These are also called data member. Okay? Data. These are the data that we are relying. At the moment, it's very simple: first name, last name, email. But it could be a lot of variables like this that holds the data, properties of data. These are method or functions. This is functions, or you can say functions. These are public functions usually. So the idea is you must convert them to private, not public, and use the public function for each set and get the value. Never let outside world directly manipulate this variable. That's the biggest flaw. But because they're teaching you first time, so they will start with the public. Usually you should keep the data value private, yes, much as possible. Yes, it's not mandatory, it's not the forbidden that you can't write one or two public. If you need to use them public, why not? You can keep them public. This is all your business data. This is where you hide your business data. So this concept is called encapsulation. It is a whole thing putting into this concept called public private phenomenon. So this is private, these all will be private, this will be all public function. Outside world only should be used public function to manipulate them or set and get them. If not, watch what happens. If I keep them public, watch what happens, what I change. I don't even have to use this. All I have to do like this, watch. Sorry, user 1, I could just do this. I could just do this to set the name. I don't even have to use this guy. What? I could just do this. Okay. Now, this is dangerous. let people do this. They can change your VAT interest rate easily. You expose, your data is exposed. Sorry, password. Password, let's say, 7123. Can you see these four and these four differences? Let me know if you can spot it.
Yeah, well, the first thing is just functions, yeah, because you said the first name.
Mm-hmm.
They use functions, yeah.
That's right. Here we use public function.
Mm-hmm.
This is the right way to do. So this is very dangerous. I could do this. That's because now if I switch it off, watch, it will still work. Can you see? I just refreshed it. Can you see? Work. But this is dangerous to let people do this outside the world. This is outside the world, remember. So this is a no-no. This is a no. I could use, because all of my variables are declared public, is it not? So you can just manipulate them directly, exposing the business data into vulnerability. You should not allow you to do this. So the way you...
Sorry, Sabrata, but if you, in the beginning, on the top, if you declared them private, you couldn't do it, the second method?
No.
Ah, okay.
Let's have a look. That's exactly what we should, and that's how we should be. So I'm just going to change them to private. Always make this private. Okay? There is another one I will introduce later on called protected. These are three things: public, private, protected. These are called access specifier. Access. This gives the access level. Public means your public Facebook profile. Private means is only you, not even your friends can see it. So that's the private. The protected means you and your child, those who inherit from you, can access. So there are three different types of access specifiers. At the moment we are on second one. We didn't talk about protected because we did not introduce you yet inheritance. Okay, when I introduce you inheritance, I will show you what is the protected. But these are so important concepts to understand throughout all object-oriented programming. Now that I've changed it to private and I try to access them, set them, you'll see the error. Let me know if you can see it.
No access to the private partition.
So this is very important to understand. You make sure that all of your data function, all the data member, those who hold data should be private. Yes.
Yeah, like I got a question. Like it's a silly question. I'm not sure. Okay. Like we know we use too many websites and we do the registration there. So how do I know like this? Like how they set up their one? They can get my all this confidential information or something like date of birth and everything. So if I do this one, suppose, and if I make it public, so can I get all the information like?
Yes, you can. You can. Yeah. Public.
How do I know like the application I'm using it, the developer set it like this way or in a protected way?
You try it. If you're a hacker, you try it. Yeah.
No, I'm saying like the apps I'm using, like we do shopping, all these things, right? They depend on we register to the new app. So how do I know that app developer he set it like?
You mean how do you know the documentation of that?
Yeah, my documents are safe or not?
Yeah. Your documentation, if you do not expose, how they will know? Like, for example, if I create a class and I explain it with the documentation and documentation, so anyone can use them. Is there something that you asking?
No, I'm saying like suppose I'm registering to some new
Company.
website or something, yeah. So how do I know like I'm registering there? Like suppose I'm giving my date of birth, my memorable word or whatever. So these things are protected or encrypted or not?
Oh yeah, this is a tough question. You have to take their word for it. Unfortunately, you won't be able to check it.
So if there is no kind of society or something like they do the validation like for when they like launch their app or something?
No, there is no individual company, unfortunately, that can guarantee that. It is your own risk when you give it to. Usually, this is the problem with the internet. Also, this is the only way that you check the trustworthiness. If it is a company like Google Login, for example, you can trust them that they will definitely encrypt it. You see, because otherwise, you living through that user whose details are not encrypted, you are actually Google actually leaving a hole in their own system. Usually people won't do that. I mean, only lazy and useless people will do this. They should provide some sort of protection to their user data. That's because even though from themselves, for example, in Operdo, all this registration I have 185. For my sake, I have to give them security. So because if I keep them exposed and unencrypted, a hacker may act as a user and then could send information to me. If I don't use the filter function, if I don't use the prepared statement, I am keeping the vulnerability for myself, not just my user. Of course, it will expose everything to me. This has happened actually, Mr. Magdal. That's why many people, their credit card details are exposed, their date of birth exposed.
My wife, she got hacked last year, years back. So
yeah, I got
100 pound like somewhere in Iran or Pakistan. They bought some machineries and she used her credit card. So luckily the bank, like next day she checked it and then the 1,700 pound gone.
Oh my God.
The bank like didn't get back. If it was 3 days something like that, then we couldn't get it back.
Yeah. Now this is what happened to me as well. My card was used in Java 4 times in a day, and the bank is keep calling me about it, whether it is me. So yeah, I woke up with 13 calls similar, and then I picked up and then I called. I said, "What happened?" I said, "Sorry, we are finding that your credit card has been exposed." I don't remember that I ever used credit card in Java. I've never been to Java, Indonesia. So of course I said, no, it's not me, I'm here. So they blocked it. But luckily all the attempts was cancelled by the bank. I mean, the bank did not approve it.
Bank's security is good though.
Very good, yeah, very good. It happened to my lowest TSB as well once, 20 pounds, not much, but luckily I already figured out. Some hackers, they're not going to take quite a long, big amount. They will take small.
Yeah, so you cannot react.
So you cannot react. Always put a notification in your app.
That's a new trick, I think.
That's correct. Very clever. Yeah. So you do the small fishing, not big. So you don't get it. And after I had this one company send me a text. I never remember that I subscribed for that mobile application game. Right? This is some sort of game that you purchase. I didn't actually purchase anything, but I don't know how they have a tie with EE. So they keep charging me $4.99 per week, and then I only realized that after 2 months later. So by that time I already paid quite a lot of money. Then I contacted the EE. EE said contact the company because we have partnership with them. You probably subscribed accidentally for this. But I don't remember that I ever subscribed, to be honest. So I was a bit annoyed, but it took me like a lot of struggle to get rid of them.
I have to check my bank statement.
I didn't get any money back, by the way. I didn't get any money back.
Within 3 days, like we have Barclays, they'll bring it back.
Yeah. But the Berkeley is saying it was actually an authorized payment through a partnership of my mobile network, and which is mobile network says yes, this company has authorized with us. But I don't remember that I actually opted in for it.
It happened with this, like one guy took iPhone 10 while I was using iPhone like 7, and some guy used my name, my card, everything. They took iPhone 10, and it was like 6 months I was studying with them to prove it and all the things. Final days result.
Okay. I see. By the time you lost some money, don't you? I have lost quite a 2 months worth of money for $4.99.
Yeah. They were charging me first, like, I think upgrade payment £94. Then I said, what is that? Because my one was free. So. Yeah, then they said, just take it. I don't check the camera and everything.
All of them actually, I had my master's degree written, thesis written on that same argument as you saying. How do I know and why? You see, you're right. According to GDPR, if you send an email to them before you sign up, they meant to explain a satisfactory explanation how they encrypt the data. So they have a template email. People ask, that. The same question you ask, people ask to them. People are very skeptical about using their details, and that's fair enough for them. And they are bound to reply you. If they don't reply, don't register. Usually they have a template that's explaining how they take care of the user data. Because according to GDPR, that notification you see on the cookies, nowadays you don't see that much. Earlier it was like everywhere. It's a GDPR actually tells that you must have the right to know about you. Even you have the right to retain your registration data back if you don't want to continue any further. But who cares? Some people don't bother, some people bother, but you've got to be careful that whether it is a trustworthy. The best way to do, Mr. Hawk and Mazdul is and others, use your Google login if possible.
Google login,
yeah. Rather than giving your details again, just create a simple login like me. I did Opeldo, for example. I have on opeldo.dev. I use literally this one for everything. This is nothing, no data in there, basically. So use this to log in into this third party. At least one thing for sure, that because they authenticate through the Google partnership, if they do mistake, they do not your data is mostly authenticated by the Google. So how does it work? The company will not have my access of my data. Remember, my data that I register Google, it will always be in the Google server. They will not have access to that. But Google allows them, and Google allows anybody. You can add Google login on your website. It's not a problem. What Google does, Google takes your details and use Google server to validate it and send a token back to the this website. So website doesn't have to know about me. They don't have access actually my data. They just have a token returned from the Google. Because you can do it. Google login to Google login is quite simple. It's not very hard. You just need a little bit of API key and connect it, and then people can log in to the Google Gmail. So I usually use, as much as possible, I use this for Fiddle, PHP Fiddle, this Fiddle, that Fiddle, whatever I do, I just use this to, if they have option, sign in with Google. First option is that, because I can trust Google, then more others. How many I can trust? Use this technique. But as I said, there's no 100% guarantee of that would happen. So this is make them private. Always make them private. So you do not use this. Now that you made private, this will not work. So I cannot make them. It's not going to work. This is going to work. And this is the right way to do. Is it clear, guys?
Yeah.
Just make them private. These are called member data. Okay? Also called member data or properties. These are called member functions or methods. Member function. Sometimes we call them member data. Member data and member functions. We also call them, this is a member of class, register class. They are also member, they're also member. This function is also member of the class register. That's why in a group they may call properties. If you have heard them saying properties, that's absolutely fine. That means the variable. They also call a member data. They also call member data, which is basically a bunch of variables. So you make sure that you put them in public, no, private. You make them private. Now these three types of things are called access specifier. You know, so there are three types. One is public. If you don't use the word public, they are by default public. Private, protected. These are called access specifier. This specifies the access level for this. Okay, you can have these private, public, protected. You can also have functions private, public, protected. There are three types. These are together called access specifier. This gives you some sort of permission level, sets the permission level for them. The rule of thumb is you must use the member data as a private or protected, while use public functions to manipulate them. Now, of course, we're going to go for a little break. We're going to come back. We see. I give you these two. Basically, you can try something very interesting for this. Very, very interesting thing. For example, so I'm going to give you both of them. Register class again, and then the register PHP. One is GUI, one is your class. To see if you can validate it, the first name. So if anybody don't enter first name or enter an empty string, it will say a first name cannot be empty. If it was not empty,
something like constructor, like Boolean thing.
Yeah. Of course, you can declare a has error Boolean here. You can print all the error together. You can declare a variable called errors and then pack things in the error and just print that error. Very simple. I mean, we do in a procedural different way. But when you're thinking of doing it through a class, because the class will communicate that way. Class will communicate that. So you could declare a variable. Why not? You could do so many things. You could have a bunch of private variable. Let's call it error. Sorry. You could do like this. This is, I want to see how you plan. Okay. Error first name. Maybe if you wanna do that, or just do like this, doesn't matter. And just bunch of error. You can say error. Last name maybe. For the error, I'm using only one. I'm not using any underscore there. Last name. You can use error email. You can use error password. You can use that. You can declare a bunch of variable to hold different errors. And if successful, check that with the if constraint here. If maybe empty, then of course you throw an error message there. You can say this dot error message equals to please things else. You could say like this. and then set up this message. So you could do like this. So I have a little function here which does that. Okay, you could use this empty function. Why not? Basically, you could do the design before you set it. You put please first name. Okay, you could do that. You could just put a check onto before you set up the first name. If empty, then it will have this information. If not empty, then it will have this. You can even return this immediately. This is one option. You can store them here and then obviously return it. Return this. So that's going to print that error. This is going to return that. Else, you could do a lot more things. Or alternative option is you could declare a private variable called errors, maybe. Okay, and make it an array, empty array, and then keep pushing to this like this. Errors. Sorry, what do we call it? Array push. Choice is here. You see, by now you should have. I mean, I'm pretty much sure you have some sort of skill to model these kind of things. You develop. So you can. How are you going to do this? This is up to you. Array push. Take this guy. Because that's a variable and which is belongs to the class. You do like this. Error. You do not need this guy here. What do you want? I want to add an array. I can just put an array here or not. It's a numeric. Who cares? Just put these things here saying please enter first name. Okay, first name. Okay, so you can keep doing them and fill this variable with wherever the error happened. Later on, with a function, you can just print them all error. You can just print one function. You can call that function to check. Basically, otherwise it's going to do this. And then you can check whether there is a function you can call to check if there is any error. If there is no error, print them. Else, don't print them. So the length check can be used to check whether a error contains. If the error contains any value. At some point you can say display error, for example. You can create a public function called display error. And then this function's job is to, just gonna quickly paste them here, paste them some of this public so you know they are public function. You could have a display, a function, could have a function called display error. Display errors. This function's job is to check our error variable is empty. If error, of course, dot length cannot be used. You can use count function. Count function will give you the count, and you can say greater than 0. greater than 0. If the count function greater than 0, print the error. Print, or just for now, just say error. You can also do this. A lot of different kind of things. Errors, I would say. Errors. What is going on here? Of course. You see, this is a common mistake. Yeah, sorry. So you can have a display error function. Public finally checks if there is more than one error. You can just call it errors. Actually, it will be the errors. Then just print it. So how you model your things is up to you. Or you could say, no, I'm not gonna print it. I'm not gonna push it. I'm gonna print it straight away. Then you could do the same thing that I did. Keep denying with the error messages. Keep denying the error messages. You can even if you wanted to, error first name, error last name can be written like this. You can do an associative error. This is just to show you, nothing important, so serious or anything. You could do like this, an associative error. Like you could also create a bunch of associative error like this, rather than declaring a bunch of variable here. You could do so many different ways. Okay. Error. So think of a strategy. I think for you, if you want to try this easily, this will be the best, rather than an error array, because array of course needs manipulating, need think through. But you can just do like very simple way. You can just say rather than this, you could say you could declare one of those error first name equals to, you could say please enter first name. So I think I will go with that one, because that makes sense to all of us. And then quickly echo that immediately. Error first name, just done. So we're gonna do that. Of course, I'm not going to use this for now. Leave it there. So what we did, we just said during the set of the first name, we will check whether, using the empty function, whether the first name is empty. Then we're going to print it. So let's have a look. So I'm going to, let's say for some reason, of course this data may come from form, very simple form. We can have a form here, not a public. So I'm just gonna do like this, and I'm hoping to see some sort of error. Can you see that? Please enter first name.
Yeah.
Of course you can see this one, and you can put a little bit break here. You can even add a class to it if you want. But as I said to you, even break I won't put there, to be honest. Maybe highest break I could put. Or you can render HTML from here as well, if you are using this for, because you see why we don't styling here. We don't do styling here. If somebody else wants to use your class, they may have their own planning for styling. So just send the pure data to the caller and do the styling there. So everybody can have their own separate style rather than U2 style. I would have written very simple class here. Let's say this is called div, and I can say style equals to, I could do like this maybe. No, sorry, single quote over there. Let's say color red. Why not? I could do that. I could render this here, no problem. So this case, this line will be a bit colorful. Let's have a look. And because I made it a div, it's fine. It goes to second line. Please enter first name. Of course, my label should not be printed anymore. And it's printing. So I'm saying I can do that, or I can just send these messages to whoever calling in here. Set first name. If it is empty, this function will return an error. This function will return an error. This function. If it is it doesn't return an error, then I'm going to print it. So maybe I could do like a little bit of test here. If a little bit, let's say, error equals to, I could do like easily like this just to check it. Let me see if this technique is any use. Yeah, similar thing. If there is an error, okay. If there is error, else go for it. Okay, let's get rid of this one now. Get rid of this as well. So I could do this. Let's see how it does. Hopefully I get some. Yeah. See, please enter first name. Last name is Smith. Did it print? If echoes, of course, if I say Sam, okay. Will it print? Yeah, it didn't print. If I remove it, please enter first name. And of course, it's doing is because I have written something here. If I don't write it, of course, I'm not going to print it anyway. You just got to get rid of this. It's going to just print the name. Sorry, you need to give this thing so you know this. So some sort of way to actually communicate with. Please enter first name. Now, of course, if you really think after this should not even go exit. You can even exit it. You can exit it. So it's not going to continue further. Because you didn't enter anything. So you said if this situation happened, just exit the application, and then in here you can just print it. If I do name, provide the name, then it's fine. So just have a look, see if you can some way figure, add those things. I'm gonna give you this basic, but there are two options you can think of. One option is, as I said, just declaring this variable, which is some way to display the error. Every time you try them with empty things, it's gonna give you an error. Exit the functions, or you could go and tag them into an array and then call the display error functions just to check whether there is an error. Basically, if there is empty, if you used these guys, push this new information into that array and call this function every time there is error, because there is error. It will print that. Simple as that. Okay,
Mhm.
we'll go for a break and come back at 15, right? 15 minutes?
Okay.
10 to we come back.
Okay.
I'll send you these files so you can have a look. Anyway, we're going to come back and try this little bit new concepts.
Okay. Thank you.
Alhamdulillah.